around for a little because it did ping and it went off and you got
behind the cover. Yeah.
Dismembered, decapitated. It's probably because you're trying to hide something and make sure certain details don't come out.
Tend to Life with Elise starts right now.
Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you can hear me okay. Obviously, I'm in a different place right now. My power went out today, so I'm improvising and I'm actually down the street at my mom's house right now using her power and her internet and my laptop, which I never use. So I'm trying to remember how to use Mac because I usually am using my PC. But hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know in the chat if you can. I'm also trying to actively find this link where the press conference is going to be, and it seems to be having some issues with loading. I don't know if it's because they haven't posted it yet or what's going on, but we are going to get that and they're going to get started here in about 6 minutes. Let me just grab something really quick while you guys are all waiting. And for those of you who are brand new to the channel, my name is Elise, and this is Tend to Life, where we talk all things true crime. Oh, good. You guys can hear me. Okay, perfect. So yes, I'm trying to still go live for you guys because I was receiving a ton of your messages giving me the update saying, go live, are you talking about it? So I zipped over to my mom's house. I'm using this weird computer that I haven't used in ages, and I am on her Wi-Fi, and I'm trying to figure it all out. And meanwhile, I'm obviously very tired from the newborn and the toddler. Let me just grab a paper really quick, guys, because you know I am a huge note taker as these things go on so that we can talk about everything right after. So, oh, hold on, I'm getting a text right now. Okay, perfect. Okay, so big news. Those of you who have been following this case, it has been about 9 months or so now that Maya Millete has been missing, and ever since the get-go, all signs, I think, for all of us in public opinion, really pointed towards the husband, Larry, because right out of the gate, within a few days after her disappearance, he stopped cooperating with police. He was reluctant to let their shared children around any of Maya's family members. He hired a lawyer. He wasn't helping in any of the search aids. There was talk of divorce leading up to when she disappeared. I mean, all of the ingredients that really illustrate an unhappy marriage, somebody who would potentially want to retaliate or would do something in whether it's a planned effort or the heat of the moment. And it's been frustrating for a lot of us following the case because we've been waiting for the other shoe to drop saying, when's he going to be arrested? There's been so many different searches taking place. There's been weapons seized. There's been vehicles seized. There was the weird uncle. And I mean, but again, so much circumstantial evidence that do you really have enough for an arrest warrant if you want to make sure that it sticks? Maybe they were just waiting to play all of their cards. So I'm really interested, as I know all of you are, to hear what goes down in this press conference today. And it looks like it's up, so let me go ahead and get this going. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Let me just add this into my tab, and I'm going to share my screen with you. God, I hate Macs. I never know how to use them. I never know how to use them. Okay, here we go. They haven't started yet, guys, so we just need to be patient. And we will wait for them to get started. Let me actually pull this really quick, and then I'm going to add it back on. Okay, so as soon as they come on, I will mute myself and I'll unmute that. But yes, he's been lawyered up since she went missing. That is correct. And he's had some really odd behavior. I mean, like I was saying, he didn't help in any of the search aids. He was isolating the children from the family members in a very weird way. And Maya's sister had ended up even saying, hey, you know, when I did finally see the kids, they were acting really different. They were really reluctant to talk to me. It's been rumored that by neighbors, apparently, that the kids were interviewed yesterday, so we don't know if maybe some information came from that. It'll be interesting to not only hear what they say in the press conference today, but also to get visibility on the arrest warrant to see what evidence they do have to where they believe they have a strong enough case. And I'm going to minimize myself too so that this goes full screen when they go up here so you guys can really see everything and hear everything. You can hear there, all of the crowds are cheering right now. Tara, I agree with you. It's very similar to the Stacey Peterson case. Very similar. So hopefully they get started here in just a second. Oh, perfect. Here we go. All right, I'm going to pull myself off.
Maya. Not going anywhere.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Dan Peake from the Chula Vista Police Department, and I oversee our Criminal Investigations Division. Thank you all for coming on such short notice today. Before we get into the press conference, I want to recognize a few individuals that are here. Of course, I want to recognize the mayor of the city of Chula Vista, Mary Casillas. Also wanted to recognize the city manager for the city of Chula Vista, Maria Cachadorian. And also wanted to recognize city of Chula Vista Council member, Jill Galvez. Before we get started in the press conference, I wanted to let you know that there'll be two speakers. The first speaker will be the Chula Vista Police Department Police Chief, Roxana Kennedy. And the second speaker will be the San Diego County District Attorney, Summer Stefan. I also wanted to recognize some of the individuals that are to my left that helped make this investigation possible and lead to the ultimate arrest that took place earlier today. And that would be FBI from San Diego Special Agent in Charge, Suzanne Turner. And also from the United States Marshal Service, Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Bill. And then, of course, I wanted to recognize May's family, which are all to my right here. And May's sister, Mary Chris, will be saying a few words today, and she'll be representing May's family. With that, I would like to introduce the Chula Vista Police Chief, Roxana Kennedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Lieutenant Peake mentioned, my name is Roxana Kennedy. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chula Vista Police Department. And I want to first thank everyone for attending today's press conference with such short notice. Along with our law enforcement leaders, I am joined today by Maya Millete's family, her friends, and our community members. Today at 11:42 a.m., the Chula Vista Police Department SWAT team served an arrest warrant and arrested Larry Millete for the murder of his wife. Larry was taken into custody at his home and was alone at the time of his arrest. And I know many of you are all very concerned about May's children. I want you to know that they are safe. May was first reported missing to the Chula Vista Police Department shortly before midnight on January 9th, 2021. May was last seen 2 days earlier by family members at her residence located in East Chula Vista. Since being notified of May's disappearance, officers and investigators have remained committed and committed to determining the circumstances behind her disappearance. As the scope and complexity of the investigation grew, so did the size and the scope of the investigative effort. The Chula Vista Police Department began a formal partnership with a multi-agency working group, including the San Diego District Attorney's Office, the FBI, and NCIS. The primary goal was to bring May home to her family or bring justice to the person responsible for her disappearance. To date, the investigation has included over 67 search warrants, 87 interviews, review and investigation of over 130 tips, and thousands of hours of methodical investigative efforts. These efforts ultimately generated a variety of pieces of evidence that have become clear and overwhelming. Larry Millete, May's husband, is responsible for May's murder and disappearance. Today is a step towards justice, but it does not mark the end of our investigation. The Chula Vista Police Department will continue to seek answers for her family. Today is about May, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. May was loved by her family and friends and was committed to her children. May's murder and disappearance has impacted so many over the past 9 months, including many people who had never even met May. Yet they rallied around her family and helped keep May's disappearance in the spotlight. While understandably the family and public want answers, our investigative team must follow the facts and the evidence that has led us to today. Our team did not stop. They relentlessly pursued justice. They wanted nothing more than to find out what happened to May, and as we now know, to hold her killer accountable. Homicide detectives say that they speak for victims who cannot speak for themselves. Their mission is one of compassion for victims and victim families. They are dedicated to being able to bring closure and accountability to those involved in these tragic events. This case will ultimately be placed in the hands of a jury who will be given the chance to evaluate all the evidence and the facts. While we are here to report the arrest of Larry Millete, nothing will change the fact that May's murder is a senseless tragedy. A mother is gone. A family is broken. And a community is left with questions and confusion. This affects us all, but it affects most of all those who loved and cared for May. Today, you will notice that officers and family members are wearing purple ribbons.
He's in custody,
It is
arrested
not
this
lost on
morning.
any of us that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is prevalent in every community and affects all people regardless of age, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. This is a time to acknowledge domestic violence survivors and be a voice for its victims. I would like to thank my entire team at the Chula Vista Police Department that you'll all see around you, along with our partners, the District Attorney's Office and DA Summer Stefan, FBI San Diego and Special Agent in Charge Suzanne Turner, U.S. Marshals San Diego Division, and Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Beal. And unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, but San Diego NCIS and Special Agent in Charge Josh Flowers. I'd also like to give a special thank you to the Cold Case Foundation, who also helped through this process. Their support of all these partners and their commitment has been invaluable to this case. I would also like to thank the many volunteers and community members who are here today. Thank you. You've been there the whole time to support May's family.
Not yet.
And we appreciate it.
We're thinking that's
And
what's
to
going to
May's
come.
family, I want you to know that I pray every day that we find May and we get closer to your family. I'd now like to introduce our district attorney, Stefan.
I'm guessing this is where we'll learn more. Hopefully they share more.
Thank you, Chief Kennedy. I'm Stefan, San Diego County's District Attorney. On Monday, October 18th, yesterday, my office filed a criminal case in San Diego County Superior Court charging Larry Millete with the murder of May. More specifically, count 1 alleges that Larry Millete unlawfully killed May on or about January 7th of 2021 in violation of Penal Code Section 187. There's also a second charge of illegal possession of an assault weapon. Following his arrest today, the defendant was booked into jail and is being held without bail. He is scheduled to be arraigned this Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon at the South Bay Courthouse. Whenever one of our community goes missing, we hope for their safe return. I know that is what May's family wanted. Sometimes missing person cases remain unsolved, but as the evidence unfolded in this case, meticulously and carefully, block by block, it pointed in one direction, that May was murdered. As we make this announcement, I know the hearts of the community are broken, as are the hearts of May's family. I wish we had better news for them. The only thing that we can do in the face of this senseless violence is to bring justice, to work tirelessly to make sure that we cannot bring May back, but that we can bring justice. And that's what it's about. As we make this announcement, understand that there's going to be questions about the fact that May's body is still missing. California law, and similar to across the nation, is very clear that the murder charges, that we can file murder charges despite not having a body. In fact, the law is so crystal clear that we cannot let someone murder someone and gain a benefit by hiding the body in a way that we can't discover it.
Just like the Morphew case here, guys.
In fact, there is case law that we will be using in this case that makes it even more clear that a missing body is circumstantial evidence that there was foul play and that it's a murder, because somebody who takes their own life cannot hide their own body. We filed this case based on the evidence that was developed during an extensive 9-month investigation. Chief Kennedy and her team left no stone unturned. I am so proud to work with Chula Vista Police Department and its brave members that put everything on the line to help bring May home, and in the absence of that, to find who killed her. When Chief Kennedy called on my office to assist, the answer was a resounding yes. I assembled an elite team that includes a homicide prosecutor, a district attorney investigator, a cold case homicide investigator, and a crime intelligence analyst, to name a few. We had one goal in mind. We worked hand in hand with Chula Vista Police Department to turn over every stone to solve this case. I have to pause and thank the DA team that are here with me today, the essential team that devoted themselves to this case and will continue this fight for justice going forward in the courtroom of law. Our homicide prosecutor, Christy Bowles, back here, our lead district attorney investigator, James Rhodes, and our cold case homicide investigator, Matt Grindley. along with our crime intelligence analyst, Peter Villafort, who you will learn was able to uncover some key evidence, with the support of Chief Deputy District Attorney Tracy Pryor and Commander Eric Nava. Thanks so much that San Diego shined, as it always does, with collaboration with the FBI, US Marshal, NCIS joining us as they have whenever there was a call to duty. I'm going to provide a brief synopsis of the evidence. Understand that a lot of the evidence cannot be shared. It will be shared in the courtroom. However, there is an unsealed portion of the arrest warrants that includes evidence that would not compromise additional investigation. This case, the investigation in this case, while we know that Larry Millete is responsible for the murder, is ongoing, and bringing May home to have a proper burial for her family is ongoing. So what you will get is the things that will not compromise a jury trial. One of the main reasons I'm providing this is that now that Larry Millete has been arrested and is being held on no bail, it is our experience that there are people out there that often have information, but they feel uncomfortable, they feel worried, they feel scared.
Like Uncle Ricky and Aunt Kathy.
And they
Bet
don't
you anything.
come forward
They're
until
the key.
an arrest is made. We've experienced that repeatedly. We are hopeful that now is the time that you come forward if you have any information. We also know more facts now that might help somebody who saw the vehicle that we believe was the transport vehicle that was used to dispose of May's body, to search their memories and understand from what I'm going to describe that there is no specific location and that the radius may be very vast and large. So it can be someone in the county, somebody outside our county. That's why we appreciate the media attention that hopefully will allow someone to see this and think, I did see a Lexus pulled off the road somewhere on January 8th of 2021, and to call us and provide that piece to the family of May. The investigators found, and when I say the investigators, I mean Chula Vista Police Department, working with the DA's office, working with our partners, that starting in 2020 and continuing until January 7 of 2021, May wanted a divorce for many reasons. Her husband, Larry, did not want the divorce. May was committed to her 3 young children. They were the center of her life. She wanted to continue being a parent, and she tried to negotiate that they can be parents to their children, but not subject the children to a toxic relationship. But Larry would not have it. In homicide cases, there is often a triggering event. In this case, on January 7 of 2021, May was no longer talking about divorce. She took that step, and the last call recorded that May made was to a divorce attorney. She did not make any further calls. When she called the divorce attorney on January 7th, we know that Larry was aware because he sent text messages that were screenshot to his boss that let him know that this was final, that it was coming. It also turns out, and this is from extensive search warrants, everything is done by the book, extensive search warrants that were done by Chula Vista Police Department with the help of our team that uncovered a trail of things that were happening that were of great concern. Larry was trying to hold on to May, and he resorted to contacting what are called spellcasters. I've never had a case where that was involved. These
Wow.
spellcasters would be asked to make May want to stay in the relationship. But as December of 2020 came, those messages to spellcasters were a lot more threatening. He was asking for May to become incapacitated, for May to be in an accident, to have broken bones so that she could stay at home, thus displaying his homicidal ideations to harm May. The January 7th date was
Wow.
very clear. She not only had called the divorce lawyer, but she had set an appointment for January 12th to meet with the divorce lawyer in order to carry out the divorce. She wanted that date and not Friday, January 7th, because their daughter had a birthday that she had planned. And again, the kids were the center of her world.
Oh my God.
And she did not want to do anything to disrupt that birthday that was going to take place on January 10.
But he obviously didn't care
The
about
last
disrupting
text
it.
message that May sent was on January 7th at 8:15 p.m. to her family. She sent that on Facebook Messenger. That's another set of warrants that were done. In the afternoon of January 7th, Larry Millete sent a really telling text. He said, "I think she wants me to snap, and I'm shaking inside, ready to snap." At 9:21 p.m. on January 7th, Larry screenshot from his account cryptocurrency amounts of money that were in his cryptocurrency to his two daughters, ages 11 and 9. May's phone activity stopped on January 8th at 1:25 a.m. On January 9th, Larry Millete's spellcaster messages that had been sent on a daily basis turned from May to wanting to punish a man that he blames for the failed relationship. This was before Merrick Priest had called the police about May being missing. Now we go to November 8th. Security video retained by Chula Vista PD showed the defendant on January 8th at 5:58 a.m. in the morning, moving his Lexus GX 460, a black Lexus, with the license plate that bears the name Melani. The Lexus was already backed into the driveway, but Larry Millete repositioned that Lexus where the back of the Lexus is in the entrance of that garage. He repositioned it where no video camera can capture whether a body was put in the back of the Lexus or not. But based on that positioning, we're not able to see that vantage point. At 6:45 a.m., after repositioning the car at 5:58 a.m., Larry leaves and he does not return to the house for 11 hours and 21 minutes.
That's when he said he went to the
leaves his
beach.
phone behind so that there is no ability to track the GPS or location on the phone. He takes his 4-year-old and leaves the two older children at home. When asked by investigators, he said that he went to Solana Beach for 11 hours and 20 minutes. at the temperature that January 7th is. When shown a map, he pointed to the Torrey Pines Beach, which is 4 miles away from the Solano Beach. On that date, his employer was calling frantically, January 8th. He even called May, saying this is not like Larry not to show up to work, and wondering where Larry was. His father called, checking where he is, but no response. The phone was not operating. On January 26, detectives served a search warrant to seize the contents of the Lexus's infotainment system. This is an older 2015 Lexus, so it doesn't have the capacity that we have today. The report generated from the download indicates a navigation event on January 8th at 3:29 p.m. in the afternoon for Larry's home address, 2413 Paseo Los Gatos. So 2.5 hours before returning to the home, he is entering his home address to get to the home. And this is why I am giving this information so the public understands that we do not have a vicinity where the body may be. It may be out 2.5 hours or even further or closer. And that's why we need the public's help. Also, Larry's messages that were captured in the search warrant showed that he was informing his boss that she's serious and is going to get the divorce. Larry's father even texted him saying, Larry, please turn on your phone. This is January 8th because your boss is calling regarding your job. When a search warrant was served at the residence, they were looking for firearms registered to Larry. Despite a court order, he had not turned over one of those weapons, a .40 caliber gun, and it remains outstanding to today. So again, I tell the public, if you are holding on to that weapon, this is the time to turn it over to police.
My guess is it's probably with her body.
Detectives also obtained security footage from the neighboring residence and observed the following. On January 7th at approximately 9:57 p.m., the sound of 9 loud bangs were recorded. Unfortunately, despite the excellent work of the FBI, they were not able to confirm whether those were gunshots based on the quality of the recording. But we truly appreciate their efforts and their continued efforts. But at 10:34 p.m., neighbors heard the children, the Millete children, playing in the backyard at 10:34 p.m. on January 7th. This was unusual because of the time of night. On the evening of January 8th, May's brother went to the house around 6:30 p.m. By now, Larry had returned. When he arrived to the residence, he was worried about May because they had not heard from her, and May was always in contact on her phone. He went up to her room and knocked on the door, and there was no response. And then he went out to the street and looked in her room and did not see any lights. Larry first told the brother that he was at work and doesn't know what May is doing. This is January 8th. And then he said that he changed the story and said he went to the beach with the 4-year-old. It's important to note that it was not Larry that called the police to say that May was missing. It was Mary Priest who went to the house, knowing her sister is always in touch and that her sister was looking forward to the birthday in Big Bear, who called the police. Part of a nobody investigation is to look for proof of life. And in this case, for 9 months, there is no proof of life that May is alive. Case law is clear that in today's world of finances and everything being tracked, that shows no proof of life. May excelled at her job. She was committed to her career. She loved her children. She was looking forward to a birthday that was coming up that she had planned. And after January 7th at 8:15 p.m. in the evening, that was her last communication to anyone via text, social media, or phone call. The team also looked at all of the finances, and while she had a savings account and she was making a decent living, there was no withdrawal from any account, not before, not during. All her valuables were left in the house. All 4 cars are accounted for. But a key piece of evidence was where was May's phone? Because being able to track that phone gives you a really important piece of the story. And after an extensive recreation and experiment that was done in September of 2021, it was clear that May's phone was in that San Miguel Ranch neighborhood, at her home or thereabouts. That means that May did not leave, did not go anywhere. She always had her phone. I talked about the financial evidence, which is very, very important. This arrest
I'll try to
would
pull
not
it
have
up,
been
Jennifer.
possible without the tremendous efforts of Chula Vista Police Department Chief Roxana Kennedy and her team. And I also again want to thank my team for working hand in hand with the Chula Vista Police Department. We ask the public at this point to call with any tips with regard to a Lexus EX460 black license plate Milani. If you saw that vehicle anytime on January 8th, please call and report that information. If you have any information about the missing .40 caliber gun, please call and report that information. If you have any evidence at all that you're aware of, please call and provide that information. While this arrest and the filing of charges starts us down the path of justice, this is not a win. We've lost a life, and all we can do is pursue justice fairly in order to bring justice to this family. Thank you.
Thank you to Chief Kennedy and San Diego County District Attorney Summer Stefan. At this point, I'm going to ask Mary Chris, who's the spokesperson for May and May's family, to come up, and she's going to provide a few words. Thank you, Mary Chris.
We love you, Mary Chris. Here for you, baby.
I would want to say thank you, everyone, for being here today, for all your support. Of course, I want to thank Chula Vista Police Department. for relentlessly working on my sister's case to this point. Chief Roxana Kennedy, thank you so much. You tell us you're praying for my sister. That means a lot to us. The DA's office, thank you so much. Summers, Stefan, thank you so much, and all your team, thank you. They tell us they've been working hard, um, day and night, working on my sister's case, even though we don't see it, but they're working hard to hopefully to get to this point. It's been 9 months, and also with the community support, we were able to do it. Sorry, it is just overwhelming at this time for me. I'm still trying to take it today. Everybody loves you. It's been really hard. He's a family. He's our family. It's hard to go against a family. He's been with us for 20 years. My sister did love him. She gave him 3 kids. She just can't let go. And this is still not the end. We have a long way to go. We're still asking the public, please help us bring my sister home. I still want to see my sister. I still want her to come home to us. Please, if you know anything at all, please help us. We are pleading. I still want her to come home. We did a promise to her 11-year-old daughter that we will bring her mom home, please. Let the kids know where their mommy is at. Let them know the truth, that they'll still be brought up
And that she didn't abandon them.
healthy.
She didn't just get up and leave. I also want to thank the media for never giving up on the family.
Yeah.
On Maya's case. You guys put her face on all the television, newscasts, social media. You guys never gave up on us. And you guys didn't let this case become a court case. Just like the police department. Thank you, everybody, men and women in blue. We love you guys.
Thank you.
And the community that supported us every weekend, every week. Prayers. Every Thursday we do prayers. Thank you to all the community that came out. Every search.
Even the weekdays.
Rain, shine, desert, ticks and all. We were out there searching for our sister. So
We're not going anywhere.
thank you guys.
Thank you. And again, thank you so much, everyone. It's all a teamwork from everybody. Thank you. We are bringing justice to my sister and we'll bring her home. Thank you.
So thank you to Mary Chris and Richard. Like it's been mentioned several times, this is an active and ongoing investigation. We still do not have May's body. And somebody out there may have saw something, or they may know exactly where she is. That person can remain anonymous. They can report it to Crime Stoppers, or they can call the Chula Vista Police Department or the District Attorney's Office. Please provide that information. All it could take is one tip, one lead to lead us to where May's body is. With that, I will open it up to a few questions. If they are specific to the District Attorney's Office, let me know. If they're specific to the Chula Vista Police Department, I'll be happy to try to answer that.
I realize that you're not going to talk yet about the evidence, but can you tell us the guns that were confiscated and the other things taken from the house? Did any of that constitute physical evidence that points you to Larry Millete? Or is this just more of the circumstantial case?
Yeah, I can't talk about the evidence, but it is a case that's built on a piece by piece circumstantial evidence at this point.
Does that concern you in the process of prosecution?
No, we've prosecuted several missing body cases. Fortunately, in one of them recently, the body was discovered right before the trial. We're hoping that that happens really to bring finality to the family. But we feel very confident about the prosecution and the evidence that we have.
District Attorney, are you able to seek the death penalty without a body? And I have a follow-up.
Seeking the death penalty is not related to whether you have a body or not. It's related to whether we have a special circumstance. Right now, the charges are murder, and there is not an alleged special circumstance. The special circumstance is something like the murder was committed in the course of a robbery or kidnap or rape. Those are things that constitute a special circumstance. Maybe some evidence will develop of a special circumstance, but at this point, we have a murder.
And would it be a mitigating factor in Larry Millete's favor if he were to reveal where Maya's body is?
We always want to know where the body is, and we hope that anybody with good conscience will allow May's family and her children to have a burial place to visit their mother.
I have a question for the police department. Is he talking? Is he talking?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is an active and ongoing investigation. There is a lot of questions that we can answer. We obviously want to protect the case, like the Chief Kennedy and District Attorney Stefan had said. This is going to go in front of a jury. At that point, the case will be laid out to a jury. So until that happens, there's a lot of questions that you have that we are not able to provide you answers with today, just due to the fact that this is ultimately going to in front of a jury and will be tried there.
Does the department have any indication?
Is there any questions specific to the Chula Vista Police Department before we wrap it up?
Yes. Do you believe he had help?
I'll be right with you, ma'am.
Do you believe he had help?
Will the children be released to Maya's family? Are they going to be okay?
So I can report is that the children are safe, and I can tell you that this afternoon when Larry was taken into custody for the murder of May, the children were the number one thoughts in our mind to do that safely, to make sure they were never in danger. And once we knew that the children were not in any danger, that's when the SWAT team moved and took them into custody. I believe there's one question right here.
Should we still be searching the cell phone team triangulation area?
So early on in the investigation, it was released to the media, also to May's family, that we had reason to believe that May's phone may have been in the area of the old golf course near her house. When that information was released, we were going on the best info at that time. At this point, we've been able to analyze that data more closely, and we feel that May's phone never left the residence. I have one more question.
You have searched locations for Larry's family members. You have searched in locations where Larry's family members live. Do you have reason to believe that his family members helped him in any way?
At this point in the investigation, the only person that we feel is responsible for May's disappearance and murder is Larry Millete. That'll be all. Thank you.
Even if they suspect them, I don't think they would say that because they want them to come forward with more information. That's my guess in my opinion. Okay, it looks like they're done answering questions. I'm going to leave it on for a minute here just to see if they come back. Oh no, they're done. Okay, so let me go ahead and remove this. Okay, I took a lot of notes and we have a lot to talk about here. First and foremost, I want to start, I know there were a lot of comments in the beginning of the press conference when the cheering was happening and there were a lot of people saying it was inappropriate. I think it wasn't cheering that he was arrested or things. It's just that there's finally a resolution now and everybody has been waiting 9 months for that. So I think that the cheering was because there's now a resolution, somebody's being held accountable. They're one step closer to justice for May. And so that's why the cheering unloaded. To just summarize for those of you who popped in the middle, what some of the key takeaways were from the press conference, they started by saying that the SWAT team arrived at his home today to take him into custody and that the children were not present at the time of arrest. In fact, they waited until the children were gone so that he would be alone. I was curious and I jotted down here if the reason that they brought the SWAT team in is because he does have such an extensive history with weapons. They seized so many of them, but who knows if he had weapons hidden. Remember, they later say that they still couldn't account for the .40 caliber gun. So I'm just curious if that's why they had such heavy artillery and a team to go and arrest him. They confirmed that the children are in fact safe. We don't know where, we don't know with who. I think it's safe to assume with family, but the most important thing is that the children are safe and away from Larry. Before they got into their evidence, they said what led them to this arrest warrant, which is partially unsealed at the moment, was 67 search warrants, 87 interviews, and 130 tips. And when Summer came on to speak, she started outlining the charges before going into the evidence, and the charges are 2 counts. The first count is unlawfully committing a murder on the 7th or around the 7th of January, and we know that's the last confirmed time when anybody heard from May and when she was last said to have been seen. And the second count is illegal possession of an assault weapon. He's also being held without bail. Now, what I think is very interesting is that his arraignment is scheduled for this Thursday at 1:30 p.m., and which I will go live and try to share that if it's public. Otherwise, we'll go live right after and summarize it. So if you want to watch that, make sure you are subscribed to this channel if you're not already so that you get the notification when we do that. And they still have not found a body. It's my belief that his Uncle Ricky and Kathy might be the key to finding her body. And I know there's been a lot of speculation in the past of the refrigerator, of them being involved somehow. At the very end of this press conference, and I chimed in a little and said, they said that they only believe that Larry is the sole person at this moment responsible for what happened to May. I don't believe that even if they thought other people were involved, that they would be forthcoming with that information right now because they wouldn't want to scare them off and scare them into isolation or into silence. Right now, they made it a point to say he is held without bond. We have this evidence. We're outlining it. If you know something, you're safe to come forward. So I don't think that they would say we're looking at everyone or even giving them a question in their mind if they are in fact looking at them, because I think they may believe they have some information too. Because again, in the very beginning, when she started outlining the evidence, she was really trying to lure people out of the shadows to kind of say, hey, it's safe. You can talk. If you saw the Lexus, if you heard anything, if you've seen anything, if he told you anything. And then this is where it starts to really go into the evidence. May wanted a divorce, which we all knew that she was looking into that. But what we didn't know was that the last phone call that she ever made was to a divorce attorney. And I jotted down here, which I found interesting and equally heartbreaking, is that she could have had an appointment that very day when she called on the 7th, but she chose not to, and she chose to set it for the 12th. And the reason why was because she wanted to celebrate her daughter's birthday with her at that planned trip they had in Big Bear, which is in the mountains just a few hours away from Chula Vista. Now, they made a note of that in the press conference too, saying that May's priority and her love was for her children. And so she wanted to wait until the 12th and not disrupt the birthday plans. Yet it just illustrates to me, at least in my opinion, that Larry's priority is of course not his children, because not only is he not concerned with ruining the birthday, but he's allegedly taking the life of their mother over the birthday weekend. It shows, in my opinion, just two glaring examples of the parents and who has the right priorities and who truly is genuine and loves the kids, and who is a narcissist and selfish. But again, that's just my opinion. That same day when May made that very last phone call to the divorce attorney, Larry was aware that she made that call because they found screenshots that he sent through a text message to his boss saying, all right, it's done, we're getting divorced, that she's not going to change her mind, and pretty much it's completely settled. Now, and Heather, I see your comment here. I think Big Bear ended up being canceled because she was missing, but I could be wrong, but I believe Big Bear was canceled. Now, one of the biggest pieces of evidence that came out that they made public that I found really interesting, and I know a lot of you guys did, is everything relating to spellcasters. And they said that they found a trail of messages on a daily basis to different spellcasters over the several months prior to May disappearing, or now allegedly being murdered. And all of those messages were saying, have her stay with me, I don't want her to leave me. But then it started to shift in December, which was a month before all of this took place and a month before May was allegedly murdered. So it's my belief that around December is when he probably realized it's not the tide isn't shifting. She's still planning on leaving. Things aren't getting better at home. So those messages that he was sending daily changed from please have my wife stay with me, have her keep loving me, to asking for her to be incapacitated, broken bones, showing homicidal tendencies, now wanting to hurt her. So now is when the switch goes off from the grief of the desperation to keep her, and now it's shifting to anger and fear of losing her, and how can I make sure that I don't lose her? I want her to be incapacitated at home, break her bones, like sick and twisted. And as we knew, the last message was to family on Facebook on that day too, on the 7th. And Larry sends another text message on the 7th that says, I think she wants me to snap and I'm shaking right now about to snap. Now, again, that's just circumstantial evidence, but it appears that he did snap. He also said, now I didn't really understand the context behind this, and I need to do a little bit of research, but also share in the comments and in the chat what you think about this. But they made it a point to also call out that he sent screenshots to his two daughters with cryptocurrency balances. Now, I don't know what that's all about, or if that's a way to track money, or what that necessarily means, but I thought that was interesting. On the 9th of January, just 2 days after May was allegedly murdered, those daily messages to the spellcasters shifted from now they weren't threatening any longer, and they weren't break her bones, keep her at home, but now they've even shifted. May's no longer the subject of these spellcaster messages. It's now shifted to a man that he blames and holds responsible for why May wanted to leave. I would like to know the context of those messages and who this man is that he does blame. They didn't go into the details there, and I'm sure that's part of the sealed portion of the arrest affidavit, but we'll of course learn that at trial. But I thought that was really interesting. And to me, again, this is my opinion, that's 2 days after May was allegedly murdered. That is a big tell. If for the last several months, every single day you're sending these messages, and regardless the context, whether it's begging her to stay or hurting her, May has been the subject. Now, 2 days after she was last heard from her scene, and now 2 days after she was allegedly murdered, the subject of those messages has shifted. And to me, that proves the guilt as well, because it shows that, there doesn't need to be any more spells cast on May, because she is no longer a piece of this puzzle. She is no longer a factor. And so now it's shifting to somebody else who he is probably looking at and blaming for this entire situation, saying he's the man responsible for her wanting to leave. He's the man responsible for why I snapped and why this happened. He's not taking any responsibility, again, in my opinion, for what he has chosen to do and how he has chosen to handle the situation. On the day before that, which is the day suspected of when he was moving May's body, is the 8th of January. And they say at 5:58 a.m., he's backing the Lexus up into the garage, which, hello, is so reminiscent of the Watts case. So we know the exact same thing. He backed the truck up, or whatever car it was, and he loaded everybody in. And at 6:45, he leaves for 11 hours, leaving his phone behind. And that's when he said he took that infamous beach trip for 11 hours that day, which in the first video I ever did on May here on this channel, I called out, I live in Southern California, not far from Chula Vista. It gets warm here year round. Don't get me wrong. People always say the reason prices are so high in California is because you pay for the weather. You are not going to the beach the first week of January for 11 hours, especially with a 4-year-old. Let me just tell you that right now, because you're not going in that water. You're not laying out in the sun. Like, I called BS on that story, as did many of you from the get-go. What I hate is the fact that that was most likely the trip in which he was disposing of May's body, and he brought his 4-year-old along with him for the ride. I saw a comment in here that perhaps he said the beach story because he knew that the 4-year-old would remember seeing sand. Now, Vegas is about a 5-hour drive from Chula Vista. However, Arizona is a lot closer. There is a lot of desert around the area, and you don't have to go the full 5 hours out to get to desert. So could it have been dirt? Could it have been sand? Who knows? I mean, and who knows if that is why he said the beach story? You know, you never know. Maybe that could have just been why he said he didn't have his phone and explained that away. But when they said that they pulled the navigation information and how he plugged in his home address 2.5 hours before he got home, that leads them to believe, and all of us to believe, that there's a 2.5-hour radius around their home in which May's body could possibly be. And you can certainly get to part of the entry points of Arizona and other desert areas within those 2.5 hours. And I just have to say, what a complete moron. Because if you're purposefully leaving your phone at home so you're not tracked, why are you entering anything in your navigation system? And I believe it's because he tried to go somewhere off the grid, unsuspecting, and kind of probably got himself lost within that when he found this place. And then he's like, crap, I don't know how to get home, plugged in his address like an idiot. And it's just like, these people have no brain. But anyways, so it was so unlike him that day too, that he had skipped work. So his employer was calling him, the father kept calling, everybody was saying, asking, is everything okay? But of course his phone was at home. So not only does he skip out on work and not tell anyone, which is odd in itself to be a no-show, but then again, he makes up this BS story about going to the beach for 11 hours the first week of January. Okay. That navigation was again at 3:29 p.m. So let's just do the math here really quick. If he left his house at, what did I say, 6:45, and if the point was within 2.5 hours of where he went, that takes him to 7 to 8:45 to, let's call it 9:30. So from 9:30 to 3:30, he could have been in this designated location, whichever it was, altering the body, dismembering, doing whatever he was doing to hide the body and conceal it, all while his 4-year-old was with him in the car. I don't know how somebody rationalizes that and how you do that. But again, look at Watts. He's a psychopath too. So they say that the weapon that's still missing is a .40 caliber gun. And if anybody has any information or is possibly holding on to that, because we know Larry has stashed guns with friends and family in the past, to come forward with it. It's my belief that he would probably ditch the gun with the body. That's just my personal opinion, but who knows? Maybe he passed it off to somebody to hold, but I would imagine that he probably buried it with May or got rid of it, whatever he did. And what they didn't go into for evidence, which again, they said that only part of the arrest warrant is unsealed, and going to be made public as to not jeopardize the investigation. But there's been so much talk about the luminol that was taken to their house. And of course, the alleged 9 gunshots, and they weren't able to decipher if it was in fact gunshots. I think it's fair to assume it probably was. So I'm curious if when they did the luminol testing, if they did find any sort of trace evidence, blood spatter, anything like that to, again, lead, because that was not recently, but relatively recently, to where if that led them to believe again that she was in fact killed and even without a body. As of now, the death penalty is not on the table because they have no special circumstance. So I'm trying to go and I'm going to try to answer some of these questions in the chat. I just have a few more minutes with you guys, but so ask them again if I've missed them because I can't scroll all the way up. But I want to remind you for this Thursday at 1:30, it's going to be arraignment. It's my belief he's going to plead not guilty because I think he's a narcissist. And I don't think he's going to give up where the body is. I think that's why they're trying so hard to persuade people who may have some sort of information to come forward, because I don't think that they expect to get that information from him, even if they were to strike a deal of some sort. And I think he's too much of a narcissist to give it up. And I think he's going to plead not guilty. But I get surprised every day. So we don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and in the chat if you think he's going to plead guilty or not guilty or what we hear. But I'm going to go live with you guys on Thursday through that arraignment. So again, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you are if you want to watch that and tune in live so that you get notified of the stream. Okay, so let me just jump over here really quick. Cynthia says you think he's going to plead guilty. Wow. If there's time, can we rewatch his TV interview? Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot that I was going to try to pull that up for you guys. Let me see if I can get it here. Oh, I'm not logged in on this computer. I hate this computer. Okay, let me see here. Isn't that working? Oh, hold on, I can do this. Sorry guys, let me just get this up for you. I don't think it's gonna work. Try one more thing. Did that in right? I did, but let me try this. Sorry guys, I'm not looking at the chat right now because I'm just trying to find this for you. Because this interview was really weird. He made it all, if this is the one I'm thinking about, because I had 2, I believe. He made it all about himself. And he very much victimized himself in it and how it made it all about him. Yeah, here we go. 1 second. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen with you. He is a narcissist, I believe, as well. And this interview was just bizarre.
Larry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you there? So first, when it's recording, do I have your permission to record this conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, let me turn this volume up if I can.
just like how we were talking, Larry, I think the last
Okay, it was
time you saw her was like last Thursday, I think.
Visually, but she was in the house Friday.
Oh, okay, so it was Friday. I mean, kind of just, it's been almost a week now, and you haven't seen from her, you haven't seen her or heard from her. You have three kids with her. I mean, this isn't like her.
No, not this long. That's the concerning and alarming part is she wouldn't be gone this long.
And, what, you guys were married 21 years? Tell
Well,
us.
it'll be 21 years, May 21st of this year. So 20 years, it'll be 21 this year.
Wow. What do you
Yeah,
love about Maya?
Oh, I love everything about her. She's very smart, kind, uh, basically just herself, her personality, her smell, just everything.
And probably her love for life. She loved to hike, right?
Oh yeah. She,
Like,
just
why is this
her outgoing
interviewer telling
personality.
him what he should love about her?
Probably a great mom.
Oh yes, she is.
So I mean, what do you think happened? I mean, there's no reason that you can think of, why she wouldn't be here for her kids. She wouldn't miss her daughter's birthday.
I don't want to speculate. There's a lot of speculations, and people kind of like throw these I don't know, speculations out. But right now, I just want to focus on how to get her back home safe and sound, and that's it.
And then have police given any indication
Yeah.
at all about where she is?
No, right now, but they, I have full confidence in, like I said, the CVPD and the Navy, because they put maximum resources on our case. So, this is what they do. This is what they do best. I'm pretty sure that, they're going to do their job. And that's why I'm really hopeful and confident that, things will work out.
How are your kids taking it?
That's my main focus for now. That's why I'm very thankful for my my sister-in-law, Mary Chris, because she's handling all this media attention. She's actually doing everything that I should be doing, out there.
Yeah, that's
but at the same
good
time, I'm
point,
just
idiot.
making sure, it's as normal, like a normal day for them. They do their school, mainly their main routine is just kept. And, I've been doing this for a while since she's been missing, and they're still happy-go-lucky most of the time. I know they sense something is wrong, but, I minimize that. They don't really understand the gravity of it, but I know my two oldest kind of like sees it, but I try to minimize the impact that it has on them. But although even though I'm trying to do that, I notice, there's, they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because they were down here at the vigil, weren't they?
What kind of
Yes,
sociopath
I had my oldest
does
down there
this?
for a little bit,
Like,
and then
does an
my
interview like
second
this?
youngest had
Blows my
tutoring, so I had
mind.
to get her to come in, and and then they had piano today, which they missed because I allowed them to go to the park. So I was like, wow. And when I got to see a little bit of it, I was just overwhelmed and thankful for all the support. I was like, this is, for my wife Maya, and it's, strangers, but, most of the time on TV, I mean, you see all the bad parts, but you don't see all the good parts where, there's still good people out there, and they really do care.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, they care more than you care. Her husband of 20
Just
years.
Just because you had to, was it just like for privacy reasons, or?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, just again, I'm not like that person to like basically, go out there, but I don't know, I just want to make sure it's focused on my wife, finding my wife, nothing else, and I just don't want any distractions from that.
Okay. Well, Larry, thank you so much. And like I said, I'm hoping, with this story, hopefully it can be out every day. And
Yes, ma'am.
Individual just to continue, to see if there's any kind of sightings. Because yeah, police say that there's been like no digital footprint of her at all, which is really odd. you know, police just say that there's no crime at all, but it's like, where the heck is she?
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, that's the disheartening part. The disheartening part is, you know, it's been really a really long time, and
Where's the emotion?
you know, this is, you know, it's the, I don't know what to think about that. It's just surreal, basically. That you know, you see this stuff on the news, but you don't know how it is until you know it happens to you. So
Do you think people are unfairly, you know, questioning you or suspecting you?
no, I mean, you know, they got to do their job. I understand. So you know, whatever it takes, they have to, you know, look at any lead or um, basically they just got to cover all the protocols and stuff.
Erica,
So
I
you
did.
know,
It's you can find it
it's
in
part of the
my
job, I guess.
feed, and it breaks
What about
down the
the
whole
followers that
case.
don't even know you, that think that
Yeah, that's the thing about the media part, you know, it's upsetting sometimes that, you know, people, you know, make implications and it's, you know, without even asking, you know, like domestic violence. I'm like, really? Like, her brothers are here, her three brothers, and they know our relationship. I've always been open to the family about our relationship, and they know I've never touched a sister. So they're like, yeah, the media is, sometimes they don't get their story straight before putting it out there. Or it's just maybe, you know, unresponsible journalist or whatever, but we get it. I mean, you know, whatever makes the biggest impact to get the story or get the viewers' attention. So again, it's a double-edged sword. You get the viewers' attention, you get their interest, and you know, you get the story out. They're like, oh, I'm interested. Now they're following it. You know, and I'm thankful for that because whatever promotes helping find my wife Maya, you know,
Then why didn't you go
whatever it
to
takes,
any of the
basically.
searches?
So
Why
like
did you
my
lawyer
sister-in-law
up?
said, she doesn't care what it takes, just as long as she comes home safe. And I agree. And so, you know what, you just do what you got to do, you know, and even though, you know, you know, some of it's not all good, whatever, like I said, whatever it takes to bring her home, you know, you do what you got to do. And Mary Chris, you know, she's really, really doing it. Like, she's out there talking and talking to all the media, getting it promoted. So, you know, hopefully we get some kind of tip or help and, you know, get her back home.
Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate talking to you, and thank you for talking.
Okay, well, that's that. He's the worst. I didn't even notice that. You're totally right. Yes, I am filming at my mom's house because we have our power is out. And your name, it's my newborn daughter's name, Emmy, but with 2 M's. Okay, guys. So I'm going to keep you updated, and I am going to go live on Thursday with you with the arraignment and what more we learn. And then as soon as I get a copy of the unsealed portion of the arrest affidavit, I'll go live and go over that with you guys as well. So make sure you're subscribed again if you're not already. And I mentioned it earlier, the Chula Vista Police Department is still looking for tips and leads for anybody who saw the Lexus, anybody who knows anything, whether you heard something, saw something, as long as it's a credible tip, please make sure that you're sharing that information. And if you don't know anything, you can still do your part just literally by liking this video and sharing the link anywhere on your social media with a friend. It casts a wide net so that more eyes get on it, so that hopefully somebody who did see that Lexus on the 8th pulled off on the side of the road comes forward and shares what they saw. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me today, guys. And if you want to talk more true crime 24/7, don't forget to join Discord, where it's literally a group text that we're talking all day, every day. About all of these different true crime cases. And you can do that through the link in the description box below. Thanks again for tuning in. I will see you guys on Thursday. Actually, yes, I will see you guys on Thursday. Make sure that you're subscribed if you're not already. All right, guys, have a great day. And until the next case, stay safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.